Understanding the user interface. Welcome to our presentation on UI design and implementation in Visual Basic.NET, VB.NET. VB.NET stands as a robust programming language renowned for its proficiency in crafting Windows applications. Today, we delve into the foundational aspects of UI design within the VB.NET framework. VB.NET is a widely embraced tool for developing an array of Windows applications, ranging from simple utilities to complex enterprise solutions. The user interface, UI, plays a pivotal role, serving as the primary medium through which users interact with applications. It's imperative to ensure the UI provides an intuitive and engaging experience. A solid grasp of the fundamentals of UI design and implementation in VB.NET is indispensable for creating applications that are not only functional but also user-friendly. In Visual Basic.NET, VB.NET, the user interface, UI, comprises several crucial components that work together harmoniously to enable seamless interaction between users and applications. Let's delve into these components to grasp their significance in UI design. Forms. Forms are the foundational building blocks of VB.NET applications, providing the canvas upon which UI elements are placed. Acting as windows, forms display information to users and accept their input, serving as the primary interface through which users interact with the application. Controls. Controls are essential UI elements on forms to facilitate user interaction. Examples of controls encompass buttons, labels, text boxes, checkboxes, radio buttons, and drop-down lists, each designed to fulfill specific functions within the application. Whether initiating actions, presenting information, or gathering user input, controls play a pivotal role in shaping the user experience. Events. Events represent actions or occurrences recognized by the program, commonly triggered by user interactions or system events. Examples of events include clicking a button, typing in a text box, or resizing a form, which prompt the action of associated event handlers. Through event handling, developers define responses to these events, enabling dynamic and interactive user experiences within VB.NET applications. Understanding and proficiently utilizing these key components is paramount for designing interfaces that are not only user-friendly but also responsive and intuitive in VB.NET applications. Form design stands as a cornerstone in crafting compelling user interfaces within Visual Basic.NET, VB.NET. Let's explore the key elements of form design and how they contribute to creating engaging user experiences. Creating forms. Forms can be effortlessly crafted using Visual Studio's intuitive drag-and-drop interface, enabling developers to swiftly add controls and arrange them on the form. Alternatively, forms can be programmatically instantiated, granting developers precise control over form creation and customization through code. Properties window. The Properties window within Visual Studio serves as a for fine-tuning the attributes of forms. Developers can easily adjust properties such as size, position, title, background color, and font to align with the application's design requirements. Layout and alignment tools. Visual Studio provides an array of tools dedicated to layout and alignment, empowering developers to achieve precise control over control positioning and sizing. Features like grid lines, snap-to-grid functionality, and alignment guides aid in creating visually cohesive and organized layouts. Responsive design. Embracing responsive design principles ensures that forms adapt seamlessly to various screen sizes and resolution, enhancing user accessibility. Techniques such as anchoring and docking properties enable controls to resize and reposition dynamically, ensuring optimal usability across diverse devices. By mastering form design techniques, developers can elevate the visual appeal and functionality of user interfaces, thereby enhancing the overall user experience within VB.NET applications. Controls lie at the heart of the user interface within Visual Basic.NET, VB.NET, facilitating user interaction and providing essential feedback. Let's delve into some commonly used controls and their functionalities to grasp their significance in UI design. Button. Buttons serve as triggers for actions, commands upon user click. They can be adorned with text, icons, and diverse visual styles to effectively communicate their purpose. Common actions associated with buttons include form submission, navigation, or task execution. Label. Labels serve the purpose of displaying static text or caption forms. They furnish users with information, instructions, or descriptions regarding other controls or elements on the form. Labels are instrumental in conveying non-editable text for providing context or guidance. Text box. Text boxes facilitate user input and editing of text data. They are prevalent for accepting user-generated content, such as text, numbers, or alphanumeric characters. Text boxes may vary between single-line and multi-line formats, tailored to accommodate specific input requirements. Combo box. Combo boxes, often referred to as drop-down lists, combo boxes, present users with a roster of selectable options. Users can opt for an item from the drop-down list or input a value if permitted. Combo boxes prove advantageous for offering users a predetermined selection or permitting them to choose from a list of items. Understanding the properties and behaviors of these controls is pivotal for crafting intuitive and responsive user interfaces in VB.NET applications. Each control serves a distinct purpose and can be tailored to align with the application's functionality and design requirements. Control properties within Visual Basic.NET, VB.NET, wield significant influence over the appearance, behavior, and functionality of individual controls on a form. Let's delve into the key aspects of control properties and their role in shaping user interfaces. Text property. The text prop is pivotal for controls like labels, buttons, and text boxes. It dictates the text displayed within the control, furnishing users with information, instructions, or input data. Enabled property. The enabled property dictates whether a control is accessible for user interaction. Disabled controls grayed out and are non-responsive to user input, aiding in interface management based on conditions or user actions. Visible property. The visible property governs the visibility of a control on the form. Setting it to true renders the control visible, while setting it to false hides the control from view, influencing layout dynamics. Backcolor and forecolor properties. These properties regulate the background color, backcolor, and foreground color, forecolor, of controls. Customizing these properties enhances visual appeal and ensures text readability within controls. Size and location properties. Size and location properties determine the dimensions and position of controls on the form. Developers can precisely specify width, height, and coordinates to achieve meticulous layout and alignment. Other properties. Many other properties, such as font, text align, and border style, cater to specific and functionality requisites. These properties afford developers extensive customization capabilities to tailor controls to the application's needs. By comprehending the significance of control properties and their impact on UI elements, developers can fashion visually captivating and user-friendly interfaces within VB.NET applications. Events stand as pivotal components within Visual Basic.NET, VB.NET, applications, orchestrating the program's response to user interactions and system actions. Let's explore the fundamentals of handling events and their significance in creating dynamic and interactive user interfaces. What are events? Events encapsulate actions or occurrences within the application, such as button clicks, mouse movements, or key presses. Each control in VB.NET exposes a repertoire of events that can be intercepted and managed by the application to respond to user actions. Event handlers. An event handler denotes a method function executed upon a specific event being triggered. Typically linked with controls, event handlers spring into action when the corresponding event transpires. Event handlers are instrumental in executing tasks like UI updates, code execution, or user input processing. Common events. VB.NET furnishes an extensive array of events tailored to diverse controls, each serving a distinct purpose. Notable events encompass click, double-click, mouse enter, mouse leave, key press, and text change, facilitating real-time capture and response to user interactions. Writing event handlers. Event handlers are penned as methods or functions within the application's codebase. Visual Studio's code editor streamlines the creation and modification of event handlers. These handlers are linked with specific controls by assigning them to corresponding event properties either through the Controls Properties window or programmatically. Responding to events. Event handlers encapsulate the logic or code to be executed upon event occurrence. Developers can leverage event handlers to update UI elements, perform computations, validate input, or execute other actions in response to user interactions. Proficiency in event handling is indispensable for crafting responsive and engaging user interfaces in VB.NET applications. By harnessing the power of events, developers can elevate the user experience, rendering their applications more captivating and user-friendly. Event handlers emerge as indispensable components within Visual Basic.NET, VB.NET, programming, fostering responsiveness and interactivity within user interfaces. Let's delve deeper into the intricacies of event handlers and their pivotal role in VB.NET applications. Defining event handlers. Event handlers are methods or functions triggered in response to specific events raised by controls or the system. In VB.NET, event handlers are affiliated with events triggered by controls like buttons, text boxes, or forms. Creating event handlers. Visual Studio's code editor furnishes a seamless interface for crafting and managing event handlers. Developers can generate event handlers swiftly by double-clicking on a control within the form designer, thereby auto-generating a skeleton method for handling the control's default event. Event subscription. Event handlers are subscribed to events by assigning the handler method to the corresponding event property of the control. This linkage facilitates invocation of the event handler upon occurrence of the associated event, empowering the application to respond to user interactions effectively. Handling event parameters. Event handlers commonly accept parameters furnishing information about the event, such as the sender object and event arguments. The sender object denotes the control that triggered the event, while event arguments furnish additional event details like mouse coordinates or keystroke information. Implementing event logic. Within event handler methods, developers encapsulate the logic code to be executed upon event occurrence. This encompasses tasks like UI updates, calculations, input validation, or specific actions contingent upon user interactions. Best practices. Adhere to naming conventions to ensure clarity and consistency in event handler nomenclature. Maintain event handler methods succinct and focused on specific tasks to preserve code readability and manageability. Employ comments to elucidate the purpose and functionality of event handlers, facilitating comprehension by fellow developers. By mastering event handling techniques, developers can forge VB.NET applications boasting responsive and user-friendly interfaces, thereby augmenting the overall user experience. Layout management stands as a cornerstone in the design of user interfaces within Visual Basic.NET, VB.NET, ensuring controls are positioned and presented in an orderly and visually appealing manner. Let's explore the array of techniques employed for layout management in VB.NET applications. Arranging controls. Visual Studio equips developers with an array of tools for arranging controls on forms, including intuitive drag-and-drop functionality and alignment tools. Grid lines, alignment guides, and snap-to-grid features facilitate precise control alignment, fostering layout consistency. Container controls. Container controls such as panels, group boxes, and tab controls aid in organizing and grouping related controls on forms. Panels facilitate control grouping, while group boxes provide visual distinction and organization for related controls. Tab controls enable efficient organization of controls into multiple tab pages, optimizing space utilization and enhancing user experience. Anchoring and docking. Anchoring and docking properties empower controls to resize and reposition dynamically as the form is resized by the user. Anchoring controls to form edges ensures consistent spacing, while docking controls to specific edges or filling the form facilitates flexible layout adjustments. Flow layout. Flow layout panels facilitate automatic adjustment of control position and size based on available space, facilitating dynamic layout adjustments. Controls within flow layout panels can flow horizontally or vertically, depending on the specified layout direction. Responsive design. Embracing responsive design principles ensures applications adapt seamlessly to diverse screen sizes and resolutions. Techniques like fluid layouts, flexible grids, and media queries optimize user experience across various devices and platforms. By mastering layout management techniques in VB.NET, developers can craft visually captivating, organized, and responsive user interfaces, thereby enhancing usability and user satisfaction. Data binding stands as a formidable feature within Visual Basic.NET, VB.NET, facilitating the connection of controls on a form to data sources, thereby streamlining the display and manipulation of data in the user interface. Let's delve into the nuances of data binding in VB.NET. What is data binding? Data binding encompasses the process of linking controls on a form to data sources such as databases, collections, or objects. This synchronization ensures that changes in either the data source or controls are seamlessly reflected in the other. Benefits of data binding: simplifies UI development by obviating the need for manual control updating with data. Ensures consistency and accuracy in data presentation, mitigating the risk of errors. Expedites the prototyping and development of data-driven applications. Types of data binding. Control-level data binding associates individual controls like text boxes or labels with specific data fields. Form-level data binding binds an entire form to a data source, automatically populating controls with data from the source. Complex data binding supports binding controls to hierarchical or nested data structures, facilitating scenarios like master-detail relationships. Binding data sources. Controls in VB.NET feature diverse data binding properties like data source, display member, and value member. Data source denotes the data source to which the control is bound, while display member and value member specify the data fields for display and value binding. Two-way data binding. Two-way data binding facilitates both reading and writing data between controls and the data source. Changes made to control values are automatically synchronized with the underlying data source, and vice versa. Data validation. VB.NET's data binding supports validation mechanisms to uphold data integrity and validity. Validation rules can be enforced at the control level or via custom validation logic, preventing invalid data from being saved to the data source. By harnessing data binding in VB.NET, developers can forge data-driven applications boasting seamless interaction between the user interface and underlying data sources, thereby amplifying productivity and user satisfaction. Validation and error handling constitute indispensable facets of user interface design within Visual Basic.NET, VB.NET, applications, safeguarding data integrity and fostering a seamless user experience. Let's explore the intricacies of validation and error handling in VB.NET. Data validation. Data validation encompasses verifying the correctness and integrity of user input before processing or storing it. It serves to preempt errors and inconsistencies, thereby bolstering the reliability and usability of the application. Validation controls. VB.NET furnishes an array of validation controls like required field validator, range validator, regular expression validator, and compare validator. These controls enforce validation rules such as mandatory fields, numeric ranges, pattern matching, and comparison checks. Client-side validation. Client-side validation transpires in the user's web browser or client device before data submission to the server. It furnishes instantaneous feedback, curbing the necessity for server round trips and augmenting responsiveness, achievable through JavaScript or VB.NET's validation controls. Server-side validation. Server-side validation unfolds post-form submission on the server, proffering an added layer of security and validation. It ensures data validation even if client-side validation is bypassed or disabled, achievable via server-side code in VB.NET, validating input against predefined criteria. Error handling. Error handling involves detecting, reporting, and addressing errors occurring during application execution. VB.NET offers structured error handling mechanisms like try-catch blocks, enabling graceful handling of exceptions and errors to avert application crashes and furnish meaningful error messages to users. Feedback. Effective validation and error handling mechanisms furnish clear and informative feedback to users. Error messages should be succinct, descriptive, and presented in a user-friendly manner, guiding users to rectify input errors. By implementing robust validation and error handling strategies in VB.NET applications, in Visual Basic.NET, VB.NET, Application Development. Prioritizing accessibility is paramount to ensure all users, including those with disabilities, can effectively engage with the user interface. Let's delve into key accessibility considerations in VB.NET. Definition of accessibility. Accessibility involves designing applications to accommodate individuals with disabilities, encompassing visual, auditory, motor, or cognitive impairments. Accessible design strives to offer equal access to information and functionality for all users, irrespective of their abilities or limitations. Keyboard navigation. Enable keyboard navigation to permit users to traverse the application and interact with controls via keyboard shortcuts. Ensure all interactive elements are accessible through keyboard navigation, facilitating effective operation for users unable to use a mouse. Screen reader compatibility. Screen readers aid users with visual impairments in navigating and interacting with applications. Design the UI with screen reader compatibility, featuring descriptive labels for controls, proper tab order, and minimizing reliance on visual cues alone. High contrast and text scaling. Allow users to adjust contrast and text size to accommodate varying visual abilities. Ensure the application remains usable and visually appealing under high contrast settings or larger text sizes. Focus indication. Clearly indicate which control has keyboard focus through visual cues like highlighting or focus rings. Facilitate efficient navigation, particularly for users relying on keyboard navigation. Accessibility standards compliance. Adhere to established accessibility standards such as Web Content Accessibility Guidelines, WCAG, Section 508 of the Rehabilitation Act, and Americans with Disabilities Act, ADA. Compliance ensures applications meet minimum requirements for accessibility and usability. By integrating accessibility considerations into VB.NET application development, developers foster inclusivity and user-friendliness, catering to diverse user populations and championing equality and accessibility for all. Illustration depicting a globe with language flags representing different regions and cultures. Narrator. In Visual Basic.NET, VB.NET, application development, localization, and internationalization serve as pivotal components, facilitating adaptation of applications for diverse languages and regions. Let's delve into these concepts. Internationalization, I-18N. Internationalization entails designing applications to facilitate seamless localization for various languages and cultures. It involves segregating language-specific elements like text strings, date formats, and currency symbols from the application code. Localization, L10N. Localization involves tailoring an application to a specific language and culture, rendering it suitable for users in a particular locale. Tasks encompass translating text strings, formatting dates and numbers, and aligning with cultural conventions. Resource files. Resource files, e.g., .resks, store language-specific resources like text strings and images. VB.NET leverages resource files for managing localized resources, facilitating seamless switching between language versions. Culture and culture. The Culture Info class encapsulates information about a specific culture, encompassing language, region, date, time formats, and currency symbols. Utilizing Culture Info, developers can dynamically adjust the application's behavior based on user culture settings. Date and time formatting. Use date and time formats to accommodate diverse cultural conventions and preferences. Use Culture Info to format dates and times according to the user's culture, ensuring a familiar experience. Number and currency formatting. Similarly, localize number and currency formats to align with user culture. Employ Culture Info for formatting numbers and currencies in accordance with cultural preferences, encompassing decimal separators, thousand separators, and currency symbols. By integrating internationalization and localization techniques into VB.NET application development, developers forge applications accessible and usable by a global audience, transcending language and cultural barriers. In Visual Basic.NET, VB.NET, application development, customization, and personalization features empower users to shape the application according to their preferences, amplifying user satisfaction and engagement. Let's delve into these concepts. Customization options. Offer a spectrum of customization options to adapt the application to their distinct needs and preferences. Enable customization of color schemes, font sizes, layout preferences, and display settings. Themes and skins. Implement themes and skins to furnish users with diverse visual styles and appearances for the application. Provide predefined themes or facilitate creation and storage of custom themes by users. User preferences. Empower users to save their preferences and settings within the application. Enable customization of default settings like language, date, time formats, and measurement units. Profile management. Implement user profiles to store individual user preferences and settings. Allow creation and management of multiple profiles, facilitating switching between configurations based on needs or roles. Saved settings. Ensure persistence of customized set and preferences across sessions. Utilize persistent storage mechanisms such as configuration files, databases, or user profiles for reliable storage and retrieval. Dynamic updates. Facilitate dynamic updating and application of customization settings without necessitating application restart. Provide instantaneous feedback to users upon applying changes, ensuring a seamless and responsive customization experience. By integrating customization and personalization features into VB.NET applications, developers empower users to mold the application to their liking, fostering a sense of ownership and satisfaction. This, in turn, engenders heightened user engagement and loyalty over time. Usability testing stands as a pivotal phase in Visual Basic.NET, VB.NET, application development, ensuring that the user interface aligns with user needs and expectations. Let's explore usability testing and its significance. What is usability testing? Usability testing involves evaluating the usability and user experience of the application by observing real users performing specific tasks. Its aim is to unearth usability issues, interface flaws, and areas for enhancement through direct user feedback. Importance of usability testing. Guarantees the user interface is intuitive, and effectively meets user needs and objectives. Identifies usability issues early, mitigating the cost and effort of rectifying them later. Offers insights into user preferences, behaviors, and pain points, guiding iterative UI improvements. Types of usability testing. Mod testing, conducted in a controlled setting with a facilitator guiding users through predefined tasks and scenarios. Unmoderated testing, users autonomously navigate the application, providing feedback asynchronously through surveys or forms. Remote testing, users engage in usability testing remotely, widening the participant pool, diversifying feedback. Usability test plan. Establish clear objectives and goals for the testing session, delineating specific tasks and scenarios for users. Identify the target audience and recruit representative users for participation. Determine testing methodology, tools, tricks for evaluating usability. Conducting usability tests. Instruct users and assign tasks, observing their interactions with the application. Encourage users to verbalize their thoughts, impressions, and encountered difficulties. Record observations, user feedback, and usability for subsequent analysis. Iterative improvement. Utilize insights gleaned from usability testing to iteratively enhance UI design and functionality. Prioritize and address usability issues based on their impact, striving for a more intuitive and user-friendly application. By integrating usability testing into the development process, developers ensure that VB.NET applications deliver a superlative user experience, fostering heightened user satisfaction, engagement, and market success. Thank you for your unwavering attention throughout this journey.